Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And by the time you're seeing this, my movie's already been out and for a little bit. And I made a bunch of clone videos. Now, you're seeing in the title that I am discussing the clone timeline, the clone video timeline, and the movie theories that Jaxson has for this and whatnot. Now Jaxson does have theories about my movie and what outcomes could have on the outcomes for it, and he's also good. And we're going to discuss the timeline for it as well. And we're also going to discuss some stuff for the movie that we both liked from it. And here he is now.
Hello, everybody. Also, by the time you're watching this, it is already November. So happy November. Obviously, November is a big month.
Yeah, because it's November, basically.
Yeah, we can't be sus or zesty, which I think is impossible for me, guys. So I think
Yeah.
we're going to fail.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just pull up YouTube because we're gonna definitely need to discuss the clone video timeline of the videos I put in the timeline and some theories that we may have about the clone videos. So
yeah. So we're basically going to be reacting to them. So yeah. Also, if you guys are asking about a potential sequel, we won't say anything about that until later notice. At this current moment. Well, we might say something about it actually there might be something important, but whatever.
yeah. Okay.
All I'll say is Green Hat Studios, I know Green Hat Productions and Joe Productions or Luigi Productions, yeah.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. Okay. So here we are. We got the I got the timeline video sorted out. So so Jaxson, why don't you discuss the video timeline for us here that I put up here?
All right, okay. So first off, I just want to say this is the I got him video is a video of this guy killing a clone. Now this guy will become very important here, right here. And then this next video, this is another video where he kills himself. This guy right here kills himself. And then this is the clone movie, obviously. And then this was actually an after thing. This is actually an after thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's like so what Jaxson is saying is that this one is the one that started all of it, and then and then if you guys have watched the movie, then you'll when you hear the clone say that that this one say that he died and then took over my body. He died in this one, and then he took over my body in this one, is what he's saying. And then basically and then this is basically the whole feud. And then this last one here was actually supposed to be released right after this movie, but I released it a month beforehand, around a month beforehand. And this one is when this clone can't find a body to attach to himself to, because he died and attached himself to this clone, but then he died again in this one. But in this one, he can't find a clone to attach himself to, basically.
Yeah. And that also kind of explains something in the second video. But yeah, so we'll watch it and then we'll give our thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So which one should we start with first?
Let's go in order. How about that?
Yeah, let's go in the timeline order from like the first one to all the way down to the last one. So let's go in chronological order. And we'll discuss some stuff that's in this video. We'll discuss some stuff that's in these videos that will be related to what's gonna what leads to the final video or whatever. So let's get going. This video is gonna be a different one because apparently I'm trying to hunker down right now because I think my clone's trying to hunt me down. And okay, all right, I got him. Okay, so what do you see in this video? What do you see in this video? That's could be like.
Well, first off, I do want to say, so that clone was saying something about hunkering down, which means that this clone war has been going on for a while. I would believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that would
Yeah.
be my takeaway from that is that this confirms that the Clone War has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, basically a year technically. Like since October 17th, so technically a little over a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's go on to the next video. Of course, I had to add this. So, hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm
And in this video,
so much trouble just to be possessed and died. Now you know how I feel.
so yeah. Okay,
Okay.
my takeaway from that one, my takeaway from that one is that obviously we actually do get to hear the clone boss, as you called him in the movie, kind of talk for the first time and really show his true side. As you can see, this also confirms something about the fact that he, got killed, and then he's out for vengeance because of that, and because that's kind of the big thing about the clone boss is he's clearly very very evil, and he was kind of one of the rogue clones, and then he made all the clones rogue, which was a big problem obviously within the movie. Obviously that's the whole plot. Yeah, so my takeaway from that one is we do get to see the clone boss first time, really get to show his true colors there.
Yeah, and then of course we got the movie, which okay. So we play the crucial parts of the movie, or should we just play the whole movie?
Um. Oh, hold on. Actually, can we? Actually, before this, we should read the some material may be inappropriate for children under 13 and grandmas over 65 and your youth pastor.
Yeah, I just had to put this in there instead of the one that was supposed to be in this one, but whatever. So what do you think we should do? Should we do like what? I think we should go over the crucial parts of this movie that kind of relate to the previous two videos.
Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's
Yeah,
better. Look down on
yeah,
time.
yeah. So I think we should go to the all of the clone scenes with him, and then whatnot. So this part right here is actually the first part in the movie with the clone boss and whatnot. So let's take a watch on this first part. Hey clone, are all the clones ready for the invasion?
Clones are secure, boss.
Good.
But I see one issue.
What's the issue?
Creator could be too
Is that the
powerful.
finger you got stuck in the door battery? That why it has a hole in it?
Eliminate him.
Understood. Creator
Just realized that.
eliminated from all places.
Good. Have everyone meet me at his base of operations. Okay, so what do you think is a crucial part from in that video from the that kind of relates to the other two videos?
I definitely believe the crucial part. So how it relates to the other two videos. Well, first off, you got the clone boss in there, and he's looking, and obviously he turned dark after that other clone killed him
Well,
as well.
after I killed him, basically.
Yeah, after you killed him. Um. So yeah, but the thing is, how this relates to the other two videos is I think how it relates is that you see this clone boss obviously, and you see kind of his progression through all three videos. So you get this first one where He's just trying to survive. The second one where he turns evil, where he's actually evil, and then the third one here, at this point, he's gone full evil mode. I think that my takeaway from the scene is showing the progression of his character over just like a minute of video. It really shows how quickly he progressed into being this evil man, evil
Yeah.
clone.
Yeah. And then of course, like should we show the news scene since technically that it should isn't the news scene a crucial part in this thing too, or what?
It kind of is. You know, I'll show it anyways because it is
Yeah.
an interesting part.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what's on the news today. Breaking news, everyone. Junk clones have gone rogue. Stay safe because they could end up hurting you or everyone else because they're trying to find their creator. Oh, God. Maybe I shouldn't have made those clones in the first place. I thought they were a good idea at first, but I guess some went off to where that made them go rogue. And plus, I had to kill a few of them when they came here. And I guess one became the ruler, I guess. Like, because I believe if clones know where I am, then then at least something went wrong to where they know my exact location. But doesn't matter. I don't know what to do now.
Okay. What's so crucial about?
I don't know what to do now.
What's so crucial about this whole news scene in general? Like what that relates to the last bit.
Relating to the last two videos, first off, we see another instance of a character getting shot in the head, which seems to be a very common theme throughout the clone videos. I can name at least 6. I think there's like 5 or 6 times that happens. I'm pretty sure there was 2 clones later on in the movie. By the way, spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, then watch the movie. Second off, you've got and then you got this, obviously the news reporter, and then the other 2 videos they shot themselves in the head as well. Well, actually, the other one shot himself in the chin, but you know what, whatever. Yeah, so it's 4 times. But yeah, so that seems to be a common thing. That's something I took away. Another thing I took away from this scene is I definitely think it shows how bad this war has gotten to the point where even news reporters who are around camera crew and everyone aren't safe at this point. I think that also made the Joe character in the movie realize what he did was a really bad idea. So it's an important character development moment for him, obviously, in his pursuit to stop the clone boss.
Okay, and then we get the part where, of course, where the clone boss.
Please don't let us down, please.
Okay. Now we got the part where the clone boss is arguing with one of the clones about the news reporter dying. And do you think that's a crucial part, or should we skip to another crucial part where
this part, I think, well, we'll just talk about it. We won't go through it. I think it's a better idea to kind of we'll just real quick recap it. So in this scene, you have the clone boss yelling at this clone because he obviously killed the news reporter. I think what this scene shows, in my opinion, is a very toxic relationship between the clones and the clone boss. And I think that's ultimately why they lost in the end, because they have a very toxic kind of relationship, I feel like, that isn't very good. You know, it's not a very good relationship, obviously. He treats them like lessers. You know, he treats them like they're less than he is. And that kind of makes them Not really. It kind of makes them, and obviously you saw it in the scenes where they're fighting. They don't do a good job. So ultimately, the clone boss did not do a very good job of training these guys or clones in combat. So that's not my takeaway from the scene is that the clone boss is not a great boss in general. It definitely
Yeah,
doesn't have great morale.
yeah. And then, of course, after this, we got the scene where I end up killing 4 of the clones, right? Like right over here. Like let's just give it a quick play, and then we can discuss whatever we need to afterwards. Well, good thing I brought this. Time for some massacre. Yeah! Screw y'all! You can't get me! Who's next? Go, go, go! Oh, you guys want some too, eh? Well, come at me then! Woo! Yeah! No one's getting by me! Okay, so there's the bits of where I end up killing technically 6 clones at that 6 clones. So
Yeah. Okay. Main takeaway from the scene. This scene shows that Joe, the character in the movie, is very, very, very good at combat. You could see it there. Very good with the gun, especially because he easily took out those 6 clones. And it also proves my previous point about the clones not being good at their job, and also the clone boss just being bad at his job as well. Overall, they didn't have a great team effort. So I think that's the main takeaway I get from the scene. It definitely is an interesting moment for sure.
okay, and then we get to the scene where the clone servant here is telling the clone boss that the clones that were sent to my house are dead. So yeah, let's just watch this scene and we can discuss this as soon as it's done. So situation. What's this? We found the creator's location and we sent some clones there to try and find him in that location. But now they're all dead. Alright. Send the whole army to his base. You sure you want to send the whole army? Yes. And I'm coming with you guys. Alright. But as long as you're coming with us, then we'll send the whole army. Okay. So he just said that he just told him to send the whole army, and he also told him that he's going with them. So what does that tell you, Jaxson?
Well, that first tells me. Well, the only thing that really tells me is the clone boss's desperation. You can tell that he is desperate at this point because he knows that because he secretly knows in his mind that Joe in the movie is much more powerful than he will ever be, and even his clones will be combined. So you can tell that he's definitely nervous because he wouldn't if he wasn't scared, he wouldn't send his entire army at once. That's the biggest takeaway. I think Joe really struck fear into Joe X.
Yeah, and plus he said he was going with them. So what does that tell you?
That also tells me he's extra scared. He feels like he needs to be out there as well to stop him.
Yeah, and then should we should we play the part with your character and me, or should we just skip that part?
It is important though. I think we'll just talk about it, not really watch it because it's super long.
Let's just pause on this bit because right here is Jackson's character and here's me all small. So like describe to the audience what what the scene with you and me entails that's important that it's important to this timeline and whatnot.
Well, this might be one of the most important scenes in the movie actually, because of 2 reasons. Number one, Isaac existing at all confirms the fact that me and Joe's universes shows take place or movies take place in the same universe. Well, one of them takes place a long time after the other. Mine is in the present, by the way. But yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the one thing. It really confirms that there was once a different breed of life on the planet before Joe created all those clones, and then they ended the trains and stuff. Well, not ended the trains, but you know what I mean. The trains ended themselves. The vehicles ended themselves, and then the Joe clones took over the world eventually from there. Obviously.
Yeah.
So that's the major thing. The second thing that this scene really entails, I think, it kind of entails the fact that Joe's only friend really is a diesel train, you know? His only real friend is this guy, Isaac, who's just in his room randomly on a piece of track, you know? And it kind of makes you wonder as well, is Joe himself lonely, you know, in life? Even though he has all these clones of himself, he never felt feels like he never feels actually any actual attachment to them at all throughout the movie once, you know? So it makes you wonder, does he feel lonely because he's in a post-apocalyptic world where he only has one friend? So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. And yeah, that's and then we get to the and of course we skip ahead and we get to the battle scene, which I'm not gonna play the part where I do my speech, but I'm gonna play the part where we get to the battle, but the battle starts, but right before you'll see. Back here after a few days of just oh god. Okay. It's the creator. Oh god. His hip is down. Kill him. No, Jimmy. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, hold on. Pause for a moment. Something I want to note. First off, so one of the clones, so that clone on the left called the clone on the right Jimmy, which means that which means by proxy, every clone should have a name by that. So that's interesting. So they're not just all called Joe. They're actually given their own names, but they are clones of Joe. So him calling him Jimmy, that creates a lot of weird like things. Like first, do they just get code names so that they can actually that would make sense though. The clone boss giving them clone names actually makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
it would be hard to differentiate everyone else. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Jimmy's probably just the code name.
Yeah.
Man, that kid had some.
And can I just point out, like all of the clones have the same gun I do. Have you ever noticed that all the clones have the same gun I do?
Let's just not bring up the fact that is because of reasons. If I
Like,
had to say an in movie reason for that, it's possibly because that might be a popular gun among this new world, and they all use it.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Here you are after all this time.
Here's the most important scene in the movie by
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. Here it is. Let's go.
You think you're going to show? You wanted me here, so here I am. You don't belong.
One thing I want to note about Jax here.
Hold on.
I need to go home. I'm already here.
Okay. So what makes this scene the most important scene in this whole movie?
First off, this really shows Joe's bravery as a character, you know, facing his fear of something that he had created. You know, he created all of this and he knows he did it, and now he has to face what he created ultimately now. That's the first thing I took away from that. You know, it shows his bravery here in this moment. So she can be a really brave person. Another thing that the scene generally shows is this scene shows this guy right here, Joe X, right?
Yeah.
It something that's very interesting about him is he's already glitching. In the previous scenes, he wasn't glitching, but he was glitching. Now he's glitching, which is very interesting. I'm wondering if it's like a fear thing, like if he gets afraid or something. That would actually make a lot of sense because he was glitching out when he was afraid in the video after this. So it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. It's possibly just a fear response, kind of like
Yeah.
Penelope from Wreck-It Ralph, maybe.
Yeah. And then of course we have this whole argument, which should we play the argument scene where my guy where where he argues with him about like what happened or whatnot, because I feel like that's an important bit of this as well.
Yeah, let's play it and then we'll pause throughout it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Also, I don't know what I did to you to make you like send all those clones at me, and for you to just come in here and just think this is your house. You know what you did, traitor. Newsflash, I don't. You killed me. But then my soul took over your body. Oh yeah? You successfully took over my body. Well, I'm still here. And if you would have taken over my body, then, I wouldn't be able to take out all those clones.
Right,
this
something I
world
want
would have
to
been different.
Okay. What's that?
So this scene also shows another side of Joe, which is a bad side. He didn't show any remorse for the fact that he killed that Joe clone. He just did not care at all. Like even after he said it, he was just like, whatever, which is very interesting. I will say.
Okay. So you're saying that it's interesting how he doesn't show any remorse for the clone boss at all.
No, not even a bit. Which, because he killed him, obviously.
Okay then.
Oh, the world will be different. Once you're gone, I'm still here.
I made the hugest mistake making you and all those other clones, okay? I don't even know why I did it. So I think,
What are you gonna do?
oh, I'm so glad you asked. I'm just going to simply snap my fingers, and then you and all of those other clones will disappear into nothingness.
I like to see you try.
Watch me.
Okay. So what do you think was crucial about that part right there?
Well, first off, we also saw another side of Joe again in this scene. And this scene in general just shows a lot of different sides. Another good trait. He showed that he took responsibility for, creating all the clones and stuff, and all that stuff in that scene. Also, another thing that I want to note is him using Isaac's advice was nice to see as well, obviously, because that's always nice to see, So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And
Yeah.
then last thing, the Joe X saying, "What are you gonna do about it?" sounds like a school bully. He sounds like a school bully when they're about to have a fight or something. So yeah.
Yeah. And then, we get to this.
What did you do? I snapped my fingers. It's one of the only ways to weaken you and even possibly kill you. Well, I just did, so suck it.
That was pretty funny. That line was pretty. The line delivery was amazing in that part, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. After this, we could discuss what happened here. What happened.
I'll always be back. You know what? You're right. Let me just give you this. Wait, no.
Okay. So, what do you think the whole crucial part was about that bit from after the snap to the point where the bomb exploded to where it leads to this?
Okay, first off, I want to say after the snap, Joe X acted like a coward. First off, and second off, something I want to note, which is very interesting, was the entire background. Not just him being gray, but the entire background is now gray. Like everything is gray on his end, which is very interesting. And my guess is that caused it. My guess is that the snapping of the fingers probably caused him to not be able to go into other people's bodies. Would be my guess to
That
attach.
yeah, yeah. Which will show in the next video that we see whenever it happens. So, and then of course we get to the bit of this.
Finally, I won. Something that I never thought that was going to happen. After many battles, after many calm deaths, I think I finally succeeded.
Also, something I want to note, Joe.
Finally,
Where did you film this?
This was actually this scene right here was actually filmed at the park at the park that's close to my school. So
Oh,
but
cool.
I'm not gonna say my school name, but you know, but that park was filmed right by. It's at the part. It's at the part of the trail that I was on that had that building, and that actually had a good spot to where I actually filmed that. So
All right.
it did something that most people don't really do, and that's succeed. And I hope you guys enjoyed this movie too, because I'm not making another one for like another year. But I'm very grateful
Oh,
for
this
this
is
one.
awesome. This is pretty awesome. I can't lie. And you walk off into the distance, knowing you have won. But the scene after this paints a different story.
okay. So from the after it fades back to this to when it fades to the ending screen. What do you take in that?
What do I take from
Like
that?
what's your intake on that? Like
Well, first off, I think that scene shows some mental growth from Joe. Should I just wait, Joe? I'm gonna find a different. I'm just gonna call. Okay, I'm gonna call the in movie person Joseph, if that's fine with you.
yeah, that's fine.
All right, so it shows. So this shows that Joseph has, grown. I think that scene showed that Joseph has grown as a character. He showed a lot of growth in that scene. The self monologue about how he succeeded where most people wouldn't. And this whole self monologue about that. I think that's very interesting, and again, it shows a lot of growth in his character after that whole thing. And you could definitely tell he took some time to think of that. He took some time to think about how things had gone, and him walking off into the distance is basically it's basically just a reminder that he has won, quote unquote, won the battle. He may have won the battle, but let's just say the war has just started. Is all I will say.
Yeah. And then we're gonna skip the credits because we already know that. But then here's another important crucial part for this entire film uh before we get to the last video here.
All right, here we go. Very crucial.
Oh boy, that didn't take very
All right. All right.
Okay, so what's so important about that post-credit scene there?
Well, first, it basically confirms the existence of a second movie coming out eventually, which is a big thing, obviously, for people who like this one, which quite a few people actually liked it. I saw the comments. Quite a few people really liked this movie. So, yeah, definitely a part two is definitely, definitely seems like a popular commodity right now for a part two. But second off, this scene obviously shows something very interesting, which is a person with a Freddy mask and in all black clothing, which is very, very interesting.
And the smoke in the room as well. And the smoke.
Right. Yeah. And you want to know something funny, Joe? At first, I thought that was a completely different person than you. But then I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and actually, that smoke. I explained this to Jackson, but you want to explain why there's a bunch of smoke in there, or do you want me to explain it?
I'll explain it. So the reason why there's a bunch of smoke at the end is because of the explosion that happened.
Yeah, from the explosion. And then and then tell everyone your theory that you had about this post credit scene that you think is possible, or the theories that you had.
All right. So I have three theories, actually. Three. So my first theory, and I think is the most likely, is this is likely a former affiliate of Joe X, or there's a second possibility. It could be maybe another. It could be somebody who is even more in power than Joe X, and maybe is controlling Joe X by chance. It could be that could be an interesting theory as well. As well for this character. I think those are two very likely possibilities in that first theory. My second theory is that this could be a twist hero. Now, this is very unlikely, but I think this could be a twist hero by chance, and maybe he will actually team up with Joe to stop another force of evil that maybe will be revealed in the next movie by chance, which would be interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then my third and final theory is, well, something very interesting. And I think it's honestly maybe the most terrifying one. In my opinion, this person could honestly, I'm going to say it right now. This person could be a being, could be like a, how do I describe it? It's hard to describe, but you know those, he could be like geez, it's hard to describe, Joe. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the example of what I'm trying to think of. Like, oh, I got it. It's possible that he could be some kind of demon, in my opinion. And here's why. I want to say it right now. Here's why I think that. First off, he sounds like one, in my opinion. Like the way he spoke there kind of sounded like a demon a little bit.
Okay.
And my second reason is the fact that he hides every part of his body besides a couple areas, besides his hands. Basically, everywhere else by his hands are completely covered in eyes. So it's very possible that this character could be something even more terrifying than Joe X, which would be some kind of weird demon creature, or even like or it's even I think it could even be possible that this character could be some kind of god as well. And maybe the reason why he said Joe X, well, that didn't take very long in that way, is because he wanted Joe X dead because he's a god. And it could also tie into my second theory about being a twist hero as well. But yeah, so that's all I have to say.
But then your third theory could also twist into your first theory as well.
Really? Explain.
Well, you did say that he sounded like some kind of more powerful than Joe X. When he said, "Well, that didn't take very long," which then could have tied in to the first theory, which means that like this character here could have been affiliated with Joe X's evil deeds during the whole war, but then at some point realized about something about Joe X, and then he just possibly left Joe X to do his own evil deeds, and then when he found out, and then when he found out that Joe X was dead, he came there and then saw the smoke, and then I'm guessing off camera, he might have seen Joe X's dead body, or what's left of it anyway. And then he saw the smoke, which which probably will indicate to him that someone or pot which could indicate to him that someone killed him, or he could or the Joe X could have done that himself. But like what I think is that it ties into that because all that. And then what I think is that since he sees the smoke and what's left of Joe X, I'm guessing he realizes that someone else is more powerful than Joe X, but also could be able to stop him. So that's why he showed up there and to do whatever. So that's why I'm guessing that your third theory ties into your first theory.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense for sure. And I also, now that you bring that up, I also think I have a smaller, it's like sub thing in my third theory. It could also be the reason he's also the reason why he looks down here, in my opinion, could be two reasons that are tied into each other. First off, he's looking at Joe X's dead body, which is probably completely mutilated at this point, by the way. Nothing's barely anything is left of him. And then
which is why it shows the smoke. Yeah.
Oh, and also it could be like a sad. He could be sad as well, by chance.
Yeah.
Maybe
We can't tell. Yeah, we can't tell because he's wearing the mask.
Right. So we don't know what he's feeling right now, or what that's the big thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities that this character can go from here, obviously, and that also makes predicting what's going to happen in the second movie very hard. Obviously.
Yeah, because if Joe X isn't okay. Oh, here's another thing. What if Joe X isn't really dead in this bit, and he's just really faking to be dead, so that when he comes in the room, they can have a whole confrontation with each other.
That's that's definitely interesting. I'm not totally, I don't know. It could be possible, but considering, he did survive. Oh, now that I think about it, dang, he did survive the finger snapping, so it's possible, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, but that bit, but this movie does lead into this next video, actually. Okay, so what do you think is crucial about this whole video that could tie in with all the other three videos?
So something crucial here, and I think it shows something. Also, this video could indicate something very interesting. Now that I think about it, it could also indicate that Joe X didn't actually die at the end of from that bomb, and now that I think about it, he was a ghost. Oh my god, shit.
Okay.
So much sense now. Actually, now that I think about it, it makes so much sense.
Okay.
Joe
What?
X
Okay.
did not
Yeah,
die.
Okay. What? Okay. What makes sense? Explain.
Okay, so think about this. Joe X was not tied to a body at the time, right?
When you see the glitching, he was not tied to a body. No.
And even when he was in the movie, in the movie, I'm pretty sure he wasn't tied to a body at all. Or maybe he was. Well, actually,
in the movie, he was okay. In the first video, he was tied to a body. Second, he was a ghost that then got into a body. And then the movie, he was tied to a body up until and that he was tied to a body, but then and then the snap happened, and then the explosion happened, and then in this video, we see we see Joe X glitching out for some reason, and then
Oh, you know what it is? I just realized it. So Joe X did die, but his soul didn't die. That's now that I realize that because he hopped from body to body, right? And he could survive that. So it's most likely what happened was that he died. He riz from the ashes, as they say. But then he realized that he didn't have another body to tie to, and he ultimately and then he went crazy as well. There's also another possibility with this whole thing. He could be in some kind of purgatory, maybe. Like he could be in some kind of hell purgatory thing, because if he died, maybe his soul went to hell or purgatory, and that caused him to go insane in his own brain.
yeah, but that doesn't explain the jump scare though. Like what like what does this jump scare mean now? Like what about the jump scare? Like what's so important about that? Because like we saw him glitch it. Okay, before we get to the jump scare, let's talk about some things. So, of course, okay, so let's get to the first glitch. Okay, so here's this part where he's trying to break his neck. And then the next glitch that shows of him of him going up like that.
Right. He's just honestly, that could actually tie into the purgatory theory, because he could be asking like, why me?
Yeah. And then of course we got we got that quick bit where he shows the gun that he has a gun. So what is that like tied to?
The gun. Well, he's trying. This is another useless attempt to try to kill himself. Obviously.
Yeah, which then shows right here. It shows right here he has the gun aimed at his head.
Right.
Which could mean that he's trying to die again, but if that's his soul, then how could his soul die if he's already dead?
Yeah.
Like how could his soul die if he's already dead? So and then we got the jump scare. Like what does the jump scare like mean? Like
well, I think that jump scare represents something very interesting, and it actually this thing will tie into the purgatory theory. I think that he has lost so much sanity. His sanity is so gone at this point that he just decides to jump scare randomly for no reason. And also, it also could be to build intimidation among other people who are also in purgatory, because if he is in purgatory, he could be trying to, like intimidate people so that he can get his way, because that's kind of what he did with the clones, right? He intimidated them into working with them.
Yeah. And then so okay. So these are some good theories that we're getting at here. But but the whole reason here, like what could be the whole reason behind what do you think could have started this whole clone war kind of thing? Like what do you think could have like caused all of it? Like basically like what do you think could have caused anything from this first video from around when the clone war was still going on to this video here?
Well, first off, hold on, let me think. So you mentioned, right, that you're talking about like what happened with him throughout the clone videos.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, there's a certain progression. You'll see it. This was where he was really in power. He kind of got in power again. He was in power until the end, and this is the decline of his power here. So if I did a graph, right, I would say it peaked around early in the third movie, and then it decreased as the third movie went on, and then it really it obviously goes flatlines for the fourth video as he has lost all of the power he has, not only over his sanity but over his ability to get into other people's brains and bodies, which causes him to lose his mind.
So you're saying that in the first two in the first two, his his power and everything, so everything was going up for him, and from the first two, from the first two and early in the third one, but then at what point do you think started the decline for him having his power and everything that he had?
Well, I think that point started around the point it indirectly started around the point that the clone started to die, just started easily getting killed by Joe. But then it really, really started when his desperation showed. Like he brought the whole army out to stop him. So it definitely showed definitely obviously showed that desperation for him. That
So
whole
you're
thing.
saying so you're saying because of the so you're saying that the desperation was kind of leading towards the decline of what was causing him to lose his power, basically.
Right. Yes.
Now, yeah, and at what point during the third video do you think he lost all of his power?
It was the exact moment that he decided it lost all of his power. It was the exact moment that the snap of the finger happened.
So you're saying that the snap of the fingers was the moment that he lost all of his power?
Yes.
Okay, so you're okay, so you're saying that so you're saying by this point, okay.
I like to see you try it.
Okay, so you're saying by this point. So you're saying as soon as the screen went white, he lost all of his power?
Yes, because at that point he still had some power over himself. Well, yes, but I think he lost most of his power. Now that I think about it, I think he lost most of his power from the fact that the snap of the finger. But I think the bomb was just the final straw, and
So you're saying that
that's what ended up killing him.
So you're saying that the snap took away most of his power, which explains why.
Suck it.
You're saying it's why, he lost most of his power. So that kind of explains why he fell right there. So you're saying that most of his power is gone. So that's why he kind of fell at that point, and was why he's on the ground here.
Yeah.
And then when he said,
I'll always be back.
he said that I couldn't do this forever, that he'll always be back. What does that tell you?
I think it also shows a delusion, the delusion that he has about the situation, because obviously he is screwed. And also him saying this was dumb because that ultimately caused Joe to throw the bomb at him, ending any power he had over himself, basically.
So you're saying basically what you're saying is that him saying that line basically caused this.
You're right. Let me just give you this.
I feel like he would have walked away if he didn't say that.
Wait, no.
Okay, so you're saying that if Joe X never said that line, then he would have possibly survived. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But since he said that, it kind of antagonized me to go and grab the bomb that I had, random bomb that I had in my pocket, and throw it at him, and then which then caused it to explode. So, like, and then which then obviously caused the fourth video. So, like, okay, so besides all of that, what are your theories for the what are your theories for the second film, since the second film is confirmed? But
Well, to finish it off, my overall theory for the second movie is going to be this. So what will happen is Joe, at the beginning, we will see that Freddy Mask character. He will look down at the dead body of Joe X. Then he will walk out of the room. Then we will see Joe going about his daily life after everything and stuff. And then Isaac comes in. This is where Isaac comes in. He tells him about that Freddy character, because obviously he saw the whole explosion. Now, yes, he survived the explosion, by the way. Yeah, he told him about that Freddy mask character, and Joe gets a little confused because he's never heard of a person with a Freddy mask on and stuff. So he goes to investigate it a little further, and he figures out something very interesting about this Freddy mask character. Apparently, this guy used to work with Joe X back like a couple of years ago, and then they eventually split off due to some disagreements they had. So, eventually they had some, huge disagreement. They had some disagreements, and eventually they decided to part their own ways, obviously. And then after that, they decide to go after him because they see him as a threat to this national security, just like how Joe X was.
so you're saying that that me and Isaac decide to plan and to kill the guy in the Freddy mask because the guy in the Freddy mask is possibly more of a security threat than Joe X is, basically.
Yeah. So yeah. Then they go after him. Now this journey is a long, hard journey they go to basically get him because they need to find his base. And where his base is, now yes, I think he has a base of his own. And where I think it would be is it would be like in a faraway place inside of a mountain or somewhere. Like I don't know what mountain range specifically, but in a mountain range, it would be inside of a mountain range. So eventually, they go to a very snowy, mounty place. I'll just say Mount Everest, I guess, because that's yeah. So they go there and they go inside his base, and at first, everything's going well. They're actually pretty impressed, and then we see the first scene where they face each other, and Joe. They have a little conversation. Well, actually, before that, the Freddy mask character ties up Joe, and then they have this, and then the Freddy mask character, or I'm just gonna call it mystery character, gives him, tidbits of who he is and stuff.
And do you think that this mystery character would reveal himself to Joe? Do you think?
Not yet. That'll be for their second meeting. Yeah, the first meeting ends with Isaac somehow untying Joe, even though he doesn't have hands. He does it in a weird, indirect way. Anyways, they run out of there and they go back to where they live. They go back to where they live, and they figure out a counter plan for this Freddy Mask character. Meanwhile, all of this is happening. There is a person behind the scenes that is giving the Freddy Mask character information about them, and it is none other than the long hair with glasses. His name is Chris. Chris will be giving this character information.
Oh, so you're saying that somewhat that the mystery guy it hired uh basically Chris's character to go after to get some intel from me and Isaac basically.
Right. So yeah, he hired him for that specific purpose. Yeah. So moving on from that though, they fire a counter plan, and meanwhile, while this happens, something very interesting happens. So um, so something very interesting happens. So Joe and Isaac. Okay, so actually, Joe, this is the point where Joe, in my opinion, I think this is what's going to happen. So I think at this point in the movie, Joe and Isaac are actually going to have an argument because of something that had happened in the base. Like Joe had messed up somehow and not used his power when he should have. And this kind of leads to a little bit of an argument. And ultimately, this leads to them kind of representing each other a little bit for a while in the movie. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, the Freddy character decides that he's gonna go over there. He's gonna go over there himself to fight those two. So yeah, he decides to go over there. Meanwhile, Joe kind of goes off on his own. Both Isaac and him go off on his own. And then I was thinking, Isaac at this point in the movie, actually no. So yeah, they have a little bit of an argument, but then they decide. But then they finally start to get talking again after a few hours. Now there's a jump cut, I would say, to save time. Yeah, and then Isaac tells Joe a story. So like they start having a conversation about like how things had gone wrong, for how everything had gone wrong with him with the clone thing, and now this. And then Isaac tells a story about what happened with his brother after they were both how they were both how they both crashed because they decided to drive. They decided to continue, riding the rails through a tornado-warned storm, and they ultimately got hit by the tornado, and it flew, and they flew in the air, and they slammed into the ground, and his brother died, and a bunch of other passengers on their train died. That kind of gives a new level of understanding between the two. So I think that's a very interesting, possibility.
Yeah. But then so now how do you think the fight between the mystery guy and Joseph's gonna go?
Well, I think it's actually going to be a pretty competitive fight. I think this is going to be the first time that we see Joe really struggle in a fight. We haven't seen him done it before. And the reason for this is actually a very interesting one. So that Freddy character is actually way more powerful than Joe X ever was. Joe X really wasn't that powerful, actually.
So because that's how Joe X was able to get defeated easily
Right.
because he didn't have enough this same amount of power as the mystery guy.
Right. All he had was the clones, and honestly, he didn't even have any real powers besides body leeching, basically. But yeah, so yeah, the Freddy character goes after him, and they have a huge battle. And this battle, and then something very weird happens. So remember Chris from earlier. Now this is theoretical, obviously. Remember Chris from earlier, right? His character.
Yeah.
Um, he all of a sudden just appears. He all of a sudden just appears, and he, and then believe it or not, he does something to you. What he meant to do was to make you weaker, but what he accidentally did was instead of saying what is it, alt. So I think there will also be a more of a technology like aspect in this movie with Chris's character, because obviously he's tracking down information and stuff. So he's going to try to weaken you by basically messing with your brain somehow through like the keyboard that he's using. But instead of making you weaker, he actually makes you stronger because he accidentally pressed the S key instead of what he was supposed to do, the W key. and this ultimately makes you stronger, and then you get the upper hand. But then I think what would be cool is if you and Isaac teamed up in the final moments of the fight to take down both the Chris. For Chris, you'll just destroy his keyboard. Unironically, that's the only power he has. He'll just destroy his keyboard. And for you, you're going to do a classic Falcon punch to the face, and a really hard punch because you got stronger, obviously. And the punch will literally it's so much force that it causes him to hit the ground and crack his head open, and he dies on the floor.
Wait, okay, but so that's their second meeting, correct?
And that will be their last one.
But will my character ever see that character's with the mystery character's face? Like, will the mystery character ever reveal himself to my character before
Well,
they have that big fight?
well, that's the thing. The only way that Joe will be able to reveal his fate, that the character will be able, he will take the mask off of him, and what he sees is shocking. And I'm not gonna say. I think I said it. What I think it was, and what I think it will be is some kind of demonic, something demonic that he couldn't even imagine. And both him and Isaac are just in shock at this point.
Oh, so you're saying that it's someone like demonic looking that like could end up like, like end up dying after the Falcon punch?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my opinion on what I think will happen in the movie. I know it's very complicated, but it is the second movie, so I'm guessing you're gonna make it a little bit more complicated and crazy than the first one, because that's kind of how it goes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my theory. Sorry if that was a little drawn out, but yeah, that's my theory about what's gonna happen in this movie. Obviously, everything I say is not true, not exactly true at least, and the whole thing. These are just theories, that I'm making. But yeah, if you didn't know, I was a co-creator in this movie, so I did get a bit of insight into things, but not everything. I didn't get insight into everything, so But yeah,
Yeah. Jackson got insight into the movie and the whole background, but he didn't get insight into everything that I was filming. And instead of like his scene, and it was only his scenes that he got some insight into, and then and also some other stuff as well. Besides that, Jackson never really got any insight about this whole thing. So
yeah, but yeah, I'm glad that this came out. Obviously, it is a big project, and just to announce it to you guys, I will if you're wondering how my movies are going, getting ready. I'm gonna confirm it on here, but I'm probably gonna confirm on my channel. The official release month for my movie, known as The Mystery of Eagle City Metro Hell, will be coming out in April of 2025. So I'm going to be announcing that right now here in the first day of November, that will be coming out in April. So get excited for that.
yeah, and 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 honestly, I'm going to announce right now here that I am a potential character in his movie. Which, well, not potential, but I am a character in his movie, and but I don't have much insight into what's going on right now. But whenever Jackson starts filming for his next movie, then I'll probably get a little bit more insight on what's going on. So. And I'll probably be the not co-creator of the series of his movie, but I'll probably be the like associate producer of that because I'll like discuss with him what he could do, like he did with me, like with my movie and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, this video is a long one, but I'm glad if you watched all the way through, by the way. You're a homie, by the way, if you watched this all the way through.
I don't know who would, but who cares? So, anyways, yeah, this was a long video. We discussed a bunch of stuff, a bunch of theories, bunch of discussions and whatnot during this whole video. If you guys actually took the time to actually watch this whole thing, then you're a dedicated viewer, and you know, you should consider subscribing if you want to. But anyways, do you have anything to say, Jackson, before we end this video?
Well, I just want to say thank you all for watching this one, obviously. If you liked it, subscribe and like, and hit that notification bell for Joe. Obviously not forcing you, but you gotta you gotta hit it. So Joe's next goal is obviously 3,000. So let's get him to 3,000 though. On his YouTube channel. Also getting the 4,000 watch hours. So yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And just remember, Godspeed to America, and don't do anything stupid or dumb that will get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of you beautiful folks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.